Well, a decade-long treasure hunt with an estimated worth of $1 million hidden in the Rocky Mountains forever changed the lives of many who tried to find it. Tony Dokoupil helped bring this story to national attention years ago and is following the new developments. Here's a preview of his 48 hours report.
I think Forrest wanted to become a legend, and I actually think he succeeded. He was described as a modern-day Indiana Jones.
Sasha Dent remembers being captivated the very first time she heard of Forrest Fenn, a Santa Fe millionaire and former art gallery owner.
Forrest came up with the idea to hide a bronze chest filled with gold somewhere in the Rocky Mountains.
Estimated worth $1 million.
I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever heard.
Sasha was all in.
I really think the greatest thing that drove me was wanting to match wits with the man himself.
And matching wits meant deciphering a cryptic poem.
He wrote a 24-line poem guiding people to the location of the treasure.
Yeah, that's exactly it. He created effectively a treasure map in the form of that poem.
Dan Barbarisi tried searching for the treasure. He didn't find it. But he had better luck writing about the Fenn phenomena for his new book, Chasing the Thrill, Obsession, Death, and Glory in America's Most Extraordinary Treasure Hunt.
He then released his treasure hunt to the world and encouraged anyone and everyone to go out and to search for his hidden treasure.
But when the poem was first published in 2010, nothing much happened. But then, a certain reporter writing for Newsweek magazine wrote a long piece about the treasure hunt.
I think the name of that reporter was the same as my name.
Whatever it was a very hard name to pronounce, but I'm pretty sure it was Tony. That much I've got.
Soon, tens of thousands were out there searching.
It really started to raise the profile of it in a significant way.
Well, I made it hard deliberately. If it was easy, anyone could do it.
But Fenn's game was not without risk. 5 people died, including Eric Ashby, the only son of Paul Ashby from Tennessee.
Forrest Fenn was a bad person. He could have stopped this madness before it became what it became. It wasn't worth it.
How does Forrest Fenn respond to that?
He didn't like the idea that anyone would tell him to bring his hunt to an end because of a few deaths. He said that if somebody was murdered because of the hunt, that would probably be too much.
Well, Tony joins me now with more on this story. You know, Tony, I remember reading about this story, this treasure hunt, and it was fascinating. And in a little way, you know, the people who pursued it and lost their lives became kind of part of the mythology. But, you know, you remind us that these are human beings with loved ones. Why didn't Forrest Fenn just call off the hunt if he knew people were risking their lives to find his treasure?
So that's the question that comes up, I think, the most frequently when talking about Fenn and his treasure. And what Forrest would say, and we should point out that Forrest is no longer with us. He died of natural causes, age 90 or thereabouts. And what he would say and did say in his lifetime is, this is about getting people into the outdoors, and it's working. That involves some risk. And, you know, people drown in swimming pools. It doesn't mean you close all swimming pools. You teach them to be more safe in the water. So from his perspective, the benefits of the treasure hunt outweighed the risk.
I mean, he was certainly a unique character. You spent a lot of time with him when you wrote that piece. What was he like in real life?
He is he's a proud rascal, by which I mean he was somebody who lived by his own set of rules. Sometimes they were very clearly the right rules, and sometimes they maybe were not the right rules, and they didn't always line up with what the rules or laws of the country were. At least to talk to those close to him, particularly in the early days, he was a bit of a rebel. When he ran his gallery, he used to have signs up. This is a gallery with artwork in it. And the signs, rather than say, do not touch, would say, please touch. I am responsible. So little things like that. I remember when I was with him in Santa Fe, he used to go, he had a little speech about red lights and stop signs. He'd say, we know when to stop. We can take care of ourselves. The government has no right to tell us when to stop our cars. He was that kind of guy. And for all the complexity and the sadness involved in what happened with the hunt, he's also he's a guy who's hard not to like.
So here you have, in telling this tale, a tale of this rebellious rascal encouraging people to take to the great outdoors, that sort of grand spirit of adventure. But, we saw in that clip there the father of one of the victims, and his view was completely different. I'm wondering about the impact of this hunt on the victims, the people who tried and failed, their families, and on the Fenn family.
Well, so there are these people who went out believing they were in pursuit of the treasure and on the brink of riches, and they lost their lives in the process. And all of these people tended to have something to prove. They wanted to show to the world, to anyone who may have doubted them, that they were smarter than everyone else. They could crack the poem. And the families of those individuals feel like many of the families of those individuals feel like what Fenn did was put forth an attractive nuisance out into the world, a dangerous thing that brought these individuals forward, and they lost their lives in pursuit of something that did not need to be out there in the world. If not for Forrest Fenn, would not be out there in the world, and if there were no treasure hunt, these people would still be alive. That's the calculus of the families, and you can understand why.
Mm-hmm. You can totally understand why. Well, Tony, I think, people may have been following this story, but they probably don't know about the angles that you're going to pursue in this 48 hours. Thank you so much. Listen, if you are interested in Tony's report, 48 hours, you got to watch it. It is called The Fenn Treasure, and you can watch it tomorrow at 10/9 Central on 48 hours. Before we let you go, Tony, I have to congratulate you on your own little treasure that you helped to create.
Thank you.
How is your new baby girl, and how is mom doing? How are you holding up? Tell us all about it.
Well, so everyone always says healthy, happy, and resting comfortably. We are healthy, we are happy, but we are not resting comfortably. We are not resting much at all. But she wakes up by the second. Her eyes are open. She can grab your finger. She turns to your voice. She's becoming a little person by the moment, and it's a beautiful thing. And Katie is with her right now. Where I'm parked outside the baby debris strewn house in a truck for this appearance, and I'm going to rush back up, and we're going to have some cozy time in bed before the day gets too far ahead of us.
That sounds fantastic. I know that, you are already a dad, so you know that the precious sleep that you are losing now, you will never, ever get back again. But that's okay. It's a worthwhile trade-off. Tony, congratulations.
Thank you, Anne Marie.